It was the start of my sophomore year. I had my broken heart, you were my biggest fear. And then you watched me run out of all the right things to say, still finding reasons to stay with you. Gave you a call because I needed a ride, and never thought I'd be with you in your passenger side. And
So I'm just going to kick this vlog straight off by letting you know I'm currently reading, and that is still The Dead House by Dawn Kerstigich. This is a young adult horror about a high school that burnt down 25 years prior to when this novel is being told, and this is a collection of diary entries, interview transcripts and video file transcripts that document what happened and how or why the school got burned down. So this book is predominantly set in late 2004 and early 2005, and it follows a young girl called Caitlin, who is the alternate personality of a girl called Carly. Now the big mystery of this book is whether Caitlin is actually real, because Caitlin and Carly share the same body. Their parents died a year or so ago, and after that they were admitted into a psychiatric hospital where their doctor diagnosed them with dissociative identity disorder, and their doctor believes that the reason that their personalities have split is because of the trauma of their parents dying, and for Carly to have some need to repress those memories and deal with the trauma. However, Caitlin and Carly both believe that they have both existed in the same body their entire lives. Carly has the day, and then as soon as the sun sets, Caitlin emerges. So this girl, or these girls, never actually sleep. So what we're trying to get to the bottom of in this book, as well as what happened with the school, is Caitlin real? Is she a product of Carly's mental illness, or are they two souls sharing the same body? So I am 302 pages into this. I have 150 pages left. There is a possibility that I am going to be finishing this book tonight, which is why I wanted to get this vlog kickstarted. And this is on my Oz Magical Readathon TBR for Ancient Runes, which is to read a book with a heart on the cover, and it is also on my Bookopoly TBR to read a thriller. So I'm still making really good progress on the Owls. I'm still ahead of schedule despite adding a book to my TBR. So if I finish this tonight, I'll probably check in with you guys tomorrow and let you know what I feel and see what I'm picking up next, because I actually still don't know. So the reason that I started this vlog today was pretty much because of this book. I'm feeling very stressed. Essentially, I have a lot to do on a time limit. Last week I mentioned that my wicks hadn't arrived. My wicks did arrive this morning, so I did make a whole bunch of candles today. I'm now out of wax because of the amount of candles that I made. Wax should be arriving tomorrow, but that's not certain with the Royal Mail delays. My other job, my stock for that has not arrived yet. It hasn't even been dispatched yet, so I don't really know what's happening with that, and I have orders that need to go out. I ordered a batch of jars last week. They got delivered to my dad's, so I'm gonna have to go to my dad's tomorrow and get my jars out of his front garden where he's gonna leave them for me. And I'm also gonna get the dog out of the front garden and take her for a walk tomorrow as well, I think, because I've missed her. I haven't spent much time with her, and I can't go and see my dad in his house, so I'll take the dog. I'll take the dog for a walk. And the video I have to make is time sensitive because not only do I have to film and edit it, I do have to have it approved. So I'm getting a little bit stressed. I've just been sat at my computer and just spiraling because I'm anxious about all the things that I need to do, but I can't do any of the things that I need to do to relieve this pressure aside from film the video. But because I'm working myself up, I know that I won't be able to film the video without stuttering and stumbling and getting really frustrated with myself. So it's just an endless circle right now. The first couple of days of this week are going to be quite busy, I imagine, but towards the end of the week I do think that it's going to calm down a little bit and I'll be a little bit more zen, a little bit more chill. I'm great under pressure. I only really work well under pressure. However, when the pressure starts to be a little bit too much and I don't see an end in sight, or there's just too much going on, I just completely shut down and do not even attempt to work through my to-do list. So I'm currently tottering on the edge of that line, and yeah, it's a struggle. I'll get through. I'm just feeling a little bit stressed right in this moment. Today, after I made candles, I did finish editing last week's vlog. I now have to go watch that back and get that ready for you guys to see tomorrow. So I'm gonna go do that and then probably try and get in bed, read a little bit of this, and maybe watch some booktube as well to make me feel a little bit better.
baby, you make me feel young, like I just turned 21, yeah. I don't mind if you stay on my side, never let go. I don't mind if you stay all the time, I'll never let go. Like power up in my small when you try on my shoes, and then you search my face now. Well, I could tell you're not done, and I would usually run, but I don't mind if you stay by my side and never let go.
Hey, so I'm back. I'm feeling a lot better today. I've had a pretty hectic day, to be fair. I haven't got everything done that I needed to do, but I am feeling a lot less stressed about it. It's kind of one of those things where everything kind of needs to be done now, but I just need to accept that I can't do everything right now. And by the time I get to the end of the week, my to-do list will be done. So yeah, I'm a lot calmer now, thankfully. I do have a reading update for you guys, but before I get into that, I would like to unbox this parcel for you from Gaston Luga. Now, I have worked with Gaston Luga before. They are a Swedish backpack brand, although they do also sell like wallets, card holders, luggage tags and things like that. As I said, I have worked with them before. In October, I believe it was, they sent me this wonderful backpack. This is the black classy model that they stock, and this is my everyday bag. It's in a really good condition considering I use this every single day. It doesn't look like it has a lot in it right now, but like all of my essentials are in here. I can also fit like up to 5 books, I think. Not that I often carry that many, as well as like my purse, a drink and all of that jazz. So I use this every single day. Now, because I quite obviously love their brand, when they offered to send me another backpack for review, I obviously jumped at the chance. So let us crack this one open. This is a different style to the one that I currently have. When you go on their website and you look at their backpacks, they do have a size guide with all of the different styles, so you can see how big they are in relation to each other, and I believe that this one is slightly smaller than the one that I have. So they all come in this little dust bag, and oh, she's cute. She's coming up really red on the camera because of the ring light, but this is a burgundy. It's darker than it looks right there. So all of Gaston Luga's bags are vegan leather, so this is not real leather. It's all cruelty free. This one has a drawstring like my other one does, which is very nice. They all also come with laptop sleeves. I don't use that as a laptop sleeve. I usually put my book in there actually. But even though this is smaller than the one that I have, it's still quite spacious. I was gonna say, do I have any books to hand? But let's be real, of course I do. Let's see how many books we can get in here, because that's the real question, am I right? Okay, so I have 2 hardbacks and a paperback in here, and there is still enough space to close her. So there she is. She also has these cute little pockets. I normally put like my inhaler and stuff in there, and paracetamol, because I like to carry some drugs with me. These are perfect for just like little essentials. So this is very beautiful. Thank you so much, Gaston Luga, for sending this my way. If you would like to get your very own bag from them, then I do have a code for you guys. My code is THEBOOKS15, and as you can imagine, that will get you 15% off your purchase. They do tend to run other offers as well, so at the minute I think you get a free card wallet with every purchase, but they are a very reliable brand. Like I said, I've had this 6 months. It has pretty much no signs of wear on it, apart from that there are some scratches on the metal plate. And now I have another one. I decided to be bold. I was just gonna get this style in black, but I thought, you know what, Becca, get a color, be brave, be bold. So I did. We'll see how often I use this one instead of the one that I always use, because honestly I'm the worst. I have 2 modes that I alternate between. One is block color always, and one is only black and grey. At the minute I'm in my black and grey phase, as you can see. So colour is a little bit scary to me, but you know, dark red goes with a lot of things, so I'm sure it'll be fine. So for my reading update, this morning I finished The Dead House by Dawn Kurtagich. I gave this one 3 stars. I'm kind of torn on it. There's nothing that I can really say that I didn't like, or nothing that I can say that I particularly liked. I'm just very ambivalent about this book. There are trigger warnings in here for gore, sexual assault, and then of course we have the bad representation of mental health in here. It is a horror novel. Those are typical things that you see in horror novels. It is extremely fast-paced. The writing is okay. We are obviously following an unreliable narrator in this, and the narrative is all over the place. The main thing I would say probably that was a miss for me with this book is that it is ambiguous, and I don't deal well with ambiguity. I didn't find it to be particularly believable, which was interesting actually, but I also feel with with this book that if I'd have had an audiobook of this and it was a well-produced audiobook, I have no idea what the audiobook for this is like, if there is one, but if I'd have had an audiobook that was well-produced like Illumicrate with all of the crackles and sound effects, I think I would have actually really loved this. But just reading it with it being so short and fast-paced, and as it's told in diary entries and transcripts, there's also times where it'll say something like Caitlin spoke to Ari, and then it will just say no record of the following conversation was ever recovered. So that casts doubt on the character and on what's going on, but it was just annoying to not have the full story. So yeah, I don't necessarily think this is a bad story, although the portrayal of mental health is not great, let's be real. So if you are not sensitive to bad representation of mental health, then you may enjoy this, but I just feel like I would have enjoyed it in a better format. If this was a movie, or if I'd have listened to a well-produced audiobook, I think I would have actually given this a higher rating. While we're talking about the mental health rep on this, somebody in the comments of the vlog that I've just posted did say that the way that I spoke about dissociative identity disorder as though Caitlin would not be real if she was a product of dissociative identity disorder is not accurate, because all alters when you have DID are actually real. When I was speaking about it in that way, I am literally lifting from the book. I have no point of reference for DID, so I'm not especially knowledgeable about it, but the way that I phrased it as Caitlin not being real if she is a product of DID is the way that it's framed in the book, so that's how I framed it, if that makes sense. I'm not really defending myself because the person who brought it up didn't mean it as like a criticism or telling me that I'm wrong. It was just like an informative thing, but I just thought that I would let you guys know that that is how it's represented in the book. There is also a lot in here that hints at incompetence within the mental health care sector, so I would probably say that mental health representation in here is just really not good, and it's there as a plot device as this is a horror novel. But like I said, I cannot 100% say for sure, but I'm also pretty sure that there will be Own Voices reviews out there for this if you would like to check that before going into it. So this is my book for Ancient Runes. Have I just, oh shit, I've just broken another nail. I've just broken another nail. No, that is both my middle fingers gone. How convenient. Well, I'm just gonna pull that off there and put that to the side and continue what I'm saying and cry about it later. I knew these wouldn't last long, but look at that. Oh god, it makes me want to cry. So this one is my book for Ancient Runes for the Owls done. It is also my Bookopoly book to read a thriller done. So the book that I'm picking up next, actually, I'm surprised that I've gone with this, but it is actually just the one that I feel like reading right now. Ow, ow. One of my broken nails, I broke it when I was lifting a huge box of jars, which is like, I think it's around 15-20 kilos, and the box slipped and just took my nail with it, so it's actually broken quite far down. I've trimmed it down as far as I can, but my hand was bleeding earlier and I just caught it on the edge of this book. But the next book I will be reading, I have not started yet, and that is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I do not know a great deal about this, aside from that it contains a forced marriage between a witch and a witch hunter. So for the Owls Magical Readathon, I'm using this for, I think it's History of Magic. The prompt for which is to read a book that contains witches or witch hunters, and for Bookopoly, I think the challenge for this one is to read a young adult fantasy. Besides this being about a forced marriage between a witch and a witch hunter, I do believe that this is a fantasy romance. I think there is a romance between the witch and the witch hunter eventually, and I think it is a hate to love. I don't actually know anything about the plot of this. I picked this up because you guys have been recommending this to me based on my particular taste with fantasy romance, and even you guys who hated this book have been recommending this to me because you think I will actually like it. So I'm very intrigued to find out what the deal is with this, find out if I love it or hate it. I'm not really sure, because based on the rant reviews I've seen, based on what you guys have said, I do think I will enjoy it. However, I have been branching out into the actual fantasy romance genre recently, and so I feel like my standards are raising a little bit, so if this is not done well, I will pick up on it straight away. So we'll see what I think about this. It is the second longest book on my TBR at just over 500 pages, so I imagine I will be reading this for most of the week, but hopefully I will get through it. I do still have a ton of stuff to do because I have to do all the stuff I didn't do today tomorrow, so I'm not sure how much reading I'm going to get done over the next couple of days, but hopefully I will be able to pick things back up a little bit towards the end of the week. So I'm finally bringing you this update now, otherwise I never will. I know I look absolutely atrocious, like I've been dragged through a hedge today, but the last few days I've been really busy. Yesterday I made a whole ton of candles. My kitchen table is covered in candles and I am just about to start sorting those out, packing them out, getting them out to you guys. But today I did go and empty all of my stuff out of my office and brought it all home. My new workspace for that kind of stuff is absolutely ridiculous. Upstairs in the landing there's like a little bit of an alcove and I've pushed a desk in there sideways and I have to work standing up because I now have to work from home because the lease is running out on the office and I have nowhere to put another workstation. So my reading, I'll show you the floor of my reading room right now actually. The doorway has got this big pile of stuff that I need to move in it, and then we also have a couple of boxes of stuff here. So yeah, I'm just going to, I really need to do candles right now, but every time I go upstairs I'm going to take something with me to pop up there and try and sort out this area. Honestly, the last couple of days have just been a huge entire mess, but self-isolation starts here. I don't have to leave the house now apart from to buy food. So aside from the very stressful time I've been having, I have actually also been having a really good time because, as I said I was the other day, I started Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mihorin, and as we all expected, I really love this book. I'm not sure if it's going to be a 5-star as of yet, but I am on page 358 and I am really enjoying it. It's kind of hard for me to tell you what this book is about because it is pretty much about a forced marriage between a witch and a witch hunter. In this world we have witches and all of the witches are female and all of the witch hunters are male and they are very religious. So our main female character Lou is a witch and she is the daughter of some very powerful witch, and for some reason she is hiding from her mother, so she hasn't been doing any magic, hoping that her mother can't trace her. Our male main character is Reed. He is a witch hunter. As I said, they're very religious. He was pretty much raised by the archbishop, so he believes in this lifestyle wholeheartedly. He believes witches are evil. He doesn't even believe that they're human. They're referred to as creatures and as it, as opposed to her or she. Now Reed and Lou do bump into each other and have a very brief exchange. That is quickly forgotten until Lou is found with a couple of her friends breaking into a mansion, and Reed once again spots and recognizes her. She does manage to get away and so do her friends. However, a couple of days after that, Reed bumps into her again and she accidentally gets into an altercation with him where it appears that they were doing something very inappropriate. So because of that, the archbishop decides that they have to get married to save Reed's reputation and also to save Lou because Lou will go to jail otherwise. And so Lou is hiding in plain sight from the witch hunters and also from her mother, as she is now married to a very bigoted, very prejudiced witch hunter. I really love the witches in here and the way that they're described. This is a French setting, I'm guessing. Honestly, I'm terrible at history, so I couldn't tell you when, but it's kind of a medieval French setting. I don't know. I'm really bad at history. I cannot identify a time period to save my life, but it is a historical French setting. I really like the setting of this, even though I would say it's not super dwelled upon. I think that Shelby Mihorin has done a very good job with this world and I do like the world building. There is a lot of sexism in this book. It is a very sexist world. It's a very grim world. It is very against women and it is very against witches, but I do think that it's atmospheric, and let's be real, no fantasy world has ever been sunshine and rainbows. So I really like Lou. She's free-spirited. She definitely fights against everything that's going on. In this world, it believes that when a woman is married, she becomes property of her husband, but Reed will not force himself upon her. He will not force his will on her, and she is very free-spirited and just does whatever the fuck she wants, and it becomes like a running joke between them two. I do really like the romance in here. I will admit I read like 300 pages and was like, I don't really understand why everybody loves the romance in this because it's pretty much non-existent, but it does kick in and it does get going, and I did enjoy the romantic bits between them. I kind of got to a point now though where I feel like, because there's been a lot of happy moments, that the plot is going to like actually happen and the shit is going to hit the fan, so I am a little bit concerned about that. I also wasn't sure about Reed to start off with because he is essentially Matthias, so if you've read Six of Crows you are getting a very Matthias dynamic here, and as Matthias is in Six of Crows, it's really irritating because it's a really ignorant perspective. But like with Six of Crows, I'm assuming that Reed is going to have a big redemption arc or character arc. He's already on it anyway. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. I don't actually understand why people hate this book. I have read nothing in this book that is worthy of the absolute hate that some people feel for it. So hopefully I'm going to finish this tonight. I will let you know what I do. At the moment, I am anticipating that this is going to be a 4-star read. Not sure if it will be a 5-star. We will see when I do core pile. It's a chunky book. It reads a lot faster than I expected to. I really like Shelby Mahurin's writing. I really like the characters, even though I was a bit iffy with read to start off with. I really like the setting, and I'm intrigued about the plot, although I am just rolling with it right now and I'm loving the character development. So that's about all I really have. I just wanted to really do that update because I have just not been doing it, and I just keep thinking like, oh, I'll do it soon, I'll do it soon, and then it hasn't been happening. Oh, I hacked all of my nails off because this one, hey, middle finger again, the bit where it cracked further down split, and this one was sore because that has cracked further down than it's been cut as well. So I got out of the shower last night and I was just fed up with them, so I just literally hacked them all off. So I need to fix that at some point, but at the moment quite busy, so I'm gonna get on with some work, and I'll check in with you guys hopefully tomorrow if I finish Serpent and Dove. So I just wanted to show you guys before I finished packing them all up, but I think these are the most beautiful candles that I've ever made. So these ones are Go Away, I'm Reading, and as you can see we have the marble, but it's also in the candle as well. The yellow ones this time didn't marble quite as much, but this one is I Like Big Books and I Cannot Lie, and these have kind of done an ombre, which is really cool. And these ones are Trio Shelf. This one's one of the most marbled, and once again it is marbled all the way around. So I'm really happy how these turned out, especially this batch. Like, they're all just so pretty, and I'm really happy about that because I have been trying to work out marbled candles for quite some time with very little success, but these purple ones, or I guess they're kind of blue, definitely turned out the best out of the three. So last night I did actually manage to finish Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I really love this, guys. I gave this 5 stars. If I was being picky, it would be a 4.5 because I did love pretty much everything about this, but it didn't hit me in like a this is my new favorite thing ever, although I would say it is one of the best books that I've read this year. Also, look how nicely the cover goes with my hair. I mean, it was meant to be. We knew I was gonna love this. So before we get going into my thoughts on this, I do want to say thank you to Ashley for gifting this to me. Not Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, a different Ashley, but thank you so much. I keep forgetting to mention it because my head is like literally all over the place this week. But I did give you the synopsis of this, was it yesterday? I don't actually even remember. I think it was yesterday. Who even knows? I mean, my thoughts on this aren't actually that expansive. I think that it was really well written. It wasn't perfect, but it is a debut. I really like the characters. I absolutely adore Lou. She does everything I like in a female main character. And Reed, you know, I think the reason why this didn't hit me in a this is my new favorite book ever kind of way is because the character of Reed is not the type of love interest that I particularly love. I mean, I do like him. I did buy into the romance in this, but I like my dark brooding fairy kings. I like my immortal warriors, and even though there's a lot of grey morality in this and neither character is good, Reed stands on the good side. He is the dove, Lou is the serpent. So he is the pious holy warrior. He has upstanding morals and all of this stuff, and he's the more innocent party out of the two of them, and that is just not my vibe in a romance. So I think that that is the reason why I don't love this with my whole chest, only part of my chest, because Reed is not my type. Let's say he's not my fictional boyfriend type. That being said, I did love the romance in here. You know, it's an enemies to lover. It's pretty slow burn. I would say the main flaws in this book, actually, the first is that the way that they got married, the circumstances and the lead up to them getting married did feel a little bit rushed. Obviously, for this story to kickstart, there had to be a reason for them to get married. However, it felt more like, okay, we need to get them married, so let's just do that as quickly as possible kind of deal. And then my other minor complaint complaint would be that while I really enjoyed the ending in this, the way that the plot resolved to line up everything for the sequel was really predictable. I don't necessarily think that the plot was predictable, although it wasn't nothing crazily out there, and while I did not predict all of the reveals, I did know that certain points were going to be relevant, and then we had reveals at the end that backed up my theories. But the way that this wrapped up left for a completely predictable start to a sequel. An example would kind of be if you read the first book in a dystopian series, especially a young adult dystopian series, you would be 90% sure that that book would be about how terrible the world is, and by the end of the first book we would be about to start a revolution. So that's what I mean when I say this book ended quite predictably. It lined all its ducks up perfectly in a way that can, like, just, I don't know how to describe it. I just know where the sequel's going. It's the typical lineup for a sequel, I guess. I don't know. Why am I struggling so much? I did really like the writing in this. I think it's extremely quotable. It does that thing where certain phrases are used over and over again to emphasize emotions, feelings. For example, one of these would be a stake and a match. This is also something that Reed says to Lou that's used numerous times throughout the book, but I really like that, you know, it's kind of dramatic and it feeds the dramatic romantic in my soul, who, you know, is like just under the surface. I really like the witches in this. I like the way that they portrayed. I liked how it was kind of a mix between traditional witches, like Salem witch vibes, but also really, really creepy. I liked that there was a lot of nature magic. I'm not sure how I feel about magic that needs a balance, as the magic in here does, because I do kind of like the idea of just having all-powerful witches that can do whatever the fuck they want without any consequences. But then again, at the same time, it shows that the magic system is a little bit more thought out, that there has to be a reason for everything. And I did really like all of the elements of ritual and blood sacrifice in here regarding the witches, as well as just their aesthetic. Their aesthetic is pretty cool. I also really liked the setting of this. I'm not saying that this is a good representation of France in any way, shape or form. I do understand French to some degree. I do know a little bit of French, so some of the French words and French phrases in here I do know. However, I did not know all of them. I do not know if it is accurate French, whether it's grammatically correct, and I don't know how much research was done into France. I don't know how much of an accurate representation it is, but I definitely loved the setting. It definitely gave me the vibes that it should have from the setting. I'm thinking like Les Mis, and I know that's such a stereotypical view of historical France, but as we established yesterday, I literally know fuck all about history. Like, I'm so unbelievably bad at it. To me, history, especially European history, is 1900s onwards and, like, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s and pre-1900s. That's about as much history as I can actually identify. But overall, really loved this. 5 stars. Very excited for the sequel to this. This is probably one of the best debuts that I've read in a very long time, actually. And the sequel to this, I think, is now my most anticipated release for the rest of the year, aside from Aurora Burning, but I do have an arc of that I will be reading at some point this month. So this completes History of Magic for me for the Owl's Magical Readathon. This book was perfect for that prompt because the prompt was witch hunts, read a book with witches or wizards, and this is literally about a witch and a witch hunter. And for my Bookopoly TBR, I believe that I have this in for the challenge to read a young adult fantasy. So next up, I really didn't know what to read, actually, because I am in such a big fantasy mood right now. So I kind of wanted to read Blood Air by Emily Wenzel. However, I don't like to read similar books back to back because I don't want the details to blur, especially with me loving Serpent and Dove so much. Normally, it wouldn't be such a big deal if I only had fantasy on my TBR. I just kind of make it work. However, while I do have a little bit of contemporary and stuff on there, I do want to mix it up a little bit because with me being in a fantasy mood, I don't want to start slumping if I'm reading a lot of contemporary or other genres altogether. So I did decide that the next book I'm going to be picking up is Maybe Now by Colleen Hoover. I haven't started this yet. It is around 4 p.m. I think on Saturday afternoon. Yeah, it's 4:20. I spent this morning packing candle orders. So many candle orders. I made 54 candles the other day and it's only representative of 17 orders. So I do need to make a batch of candles when I'm done filming, but I have just filmed my Illumicrate unboxing and then I'm doing this vlog update. I do like to film smaller things before I film a normal video because because I feel like it warms me up a little bit. It gets me in the mood for talking and means that I will be less stuttery and more able to actually form thoughts by the time it gets to filming the video that I need to film. So I've had not a overwhelmingly busy day, but I definitely have stuff that I need to do. But I do plan on having a bath later tonight, so I think I will get a lot of reading done then. But I should probably tell you what Maybe Now is about. So this is the sequel to Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. It is a new adult romance. Last month I read the first book in the series, Maybe Someday, and I also read the novella that follows two side characters called Maybe Not. So with this being the sequel, I will just tell you about the first book. In that book we follow Ridge and Sydney. Now Sydney lives with her roommates and she has a boyfriend. I think she's had a boyfriend for 2 years. She's a student. I believe that she is a music major, and she sits out on her balcony every night and she listens to a guy across the complex that she lives in playing his guitar on his balcony. Now one day he writes her a message across the complex and asks her to text him because he has noticed that she is singing along to his music, so she is writing lyrics to his music and he is having a little bit of writer's block at the moment. So those two get talking and are a little bit friendly with each other, although they've never met face to face, when Sydney discovers that her boyfriend is cheating on her with her roommate. So naturally she doesn't want to be around either of them. So Ridge, who is the boy across the complex, ends up taking her in and she ends up living with him and his two roommates while she tries to get back on her feet. So the whole book is pretty much about those two growing closer as they're writing music and how their feelings may escalate outside of friendship, but neither of them are ready to begin a relationship with each other right now. So with that being the setup for the first one, I expect the second book to be a little bit more romance focused because all of the drama from the first book was actually resolved in the first book. So we'll see how I feel about this one. Maybe Someday was not my favorite Colleen Hoover book, although I did enjoy it, so I'm expecting that I will enjoy this one a little bit as well. My issue with it and why I didn't love it as much is that it's a little bit of a sweeter romance than I usually like. While it's still pretty angsty and complicated, it doesn't deal with as difficult topics as I usually like to read in contemporary and also in romance, but I did like the characters and I liked the romance vibes. So for the Owl's Magical Readathon, I believe that this fulfills the prompt for Herbology, which is to read a book that begins with M, and while I don't completely remember, I believe that for Bookopoly this is on my TBR to read either an ebook or an audiobook, and I do not own a copy of this, so I will be reading the ebook. So that's about all I have for you right now. I'm going to take a 5-minute break and then film the video that I need to film for tomorrow, and then make candles and also food. Honestly, it's supposed to be bank holiday weekend. Normally, if I was still regularly like traditionally employed, I would be loving this because it's the only time of year I get like 4 days off without having to take it as standard holiday time. But you know, being self-employed, this means nothing to me. I'm still working every day. Life is still hell. Somebody please save me. Hey, so it's past midnight on technically Monday morning now. I'm 200 pages into Maybe Now. I was just going to wrap this vlog up tomorrow because I am going to go to bed and read as much as possible because I do only have 100 pages left. I will probably end up finishing it in the morning, but I wanted to have everything in this vlog because I don't want to rehash what it's about again. However, because it is a sequel, I can't really tell you too much about what it's actually about. I'm not enjoying it all that much. I don't think the writing is as strong as Colleen Hoover's other books or some of her other books. I find that she's talking in circles a lot. The characters seem to be being really paranoid for no real reason other than to create drama. The writing is going around in circles in parts. The characters seem to be having the same arguments over and over again. There's 4 perspectives in this book. We have Sydney, Ridge, Maggie, and a guy called Jake who's new to this book, and I haven't even seen Jake's perspective in like 150 pages. I do like Jake though, but we're following Sydney and Ridge. We're also following Maggie as she's progressing on with her life. There is a lot of representation in this series. There's deaf representation. There's also representation for dealing with chronic illnesses and diseases. We do have a character in here who has cystic fibrosis and diabetes, so it's good for the rep, I guess. This was a Wattpad story. I'm not sure if it was ever traditionally published, although to be fair, I don't really know the circumstances of any of Colleen Hoover's books, so I don't know if it ever was published properly or whether it is still just a Wattpad story, but that would make sense as to why it's not as strong as the first book, because it is just a thing that was made kind of for the fans, I guess. But yeah, there just seems to be drama for the sake of drama. I don't really see the point in a continuation of Sydney and Ridge's story, especially because, like I said, they just seem to be talking in circles. I mean, the drama that we have in here is kind of reasonable, but it kind of goes against the characters. Like, it seems like they're finding fault in things that each other is doing and what other people are doing just for the sake of something actually happening in this book. It's weird. I am enjoying Maggie's perspective, and I am enjoying Jake, because I don't think that Maggie had a perspective in the first book despite being one of the characters. So getting her perspective is better than Sydney and Ridge, I guess, but I'm not loving it that much, and I'd rather be reading fantasy now. It's really weird actually, because I've spent the last 2 months reading Colleen Hoover to keep me out of a slump, and now I'm finally back in the mood for reading fantasy, and Colleen Hoover is it's not making me slump. I've still read 200 pages in like 2 days, but I'm reading slower than I was. So I am going to be wrapping up this vlog here and going to bed. I have spent my bank holiday weekend, there's still 1 day left of bank holiday, but I spent my bank holiday weekend working. I edited a video this morning, I printed some plaques, and I packed candle orders. I think I have 5 more orders that I can dispatch tomorrow. I just need to make 1 body butter and a shit ton of plaques to pack. But yeah, I am wrapping up this vlog. I hope you guys have enjoyed it if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you did like it, and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're go and nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.